That was the ancient art of tuning. Welcome to metropolitan Waleska, Georgia. And here on the usually not beautiful weather, but the campus itself is a beautiful campus. If you've never been here before, in the foot of the Appalachian Mountains, foothills, I should say, it's a beautiful place. And we welcome you to our campus if this is your first time. If you're a returner, welcome back. I think our clinic has, well, I know our clinic has grown. This is the first year that we've been able to offer 2 high school honor bands. We do a middle school clinic back in November, and that's traditionally had 2 bands associated with it. Because, you know, middle schoolers don't have marching band like all these kids do in the fall. But last year when I was by the way, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Kerry Bryant. I'm the director of bands here at Reinhardt University. And so last year I was taking nominations for the high school honor band, and I turned away a whole other honor band's worth of kids. And I'm like, wait a minute. I think we got 2 places we could have an honor band, which is one rehearsed here on the stage, and the other was down the hall in our band room. So we leveraged that, and this year we're very fortunate to feature 2 high school honor bands, and I happen to think that our clinic experience is maybe it's getting to be less of a best kept secret. But if your student had a great experience, and I certainly hope that we did, because this sounds really obvious, but it's not necessarily the case when some institutions choose to run their clinic as more of a money-making venture than a student experience venture. We're really student experience oriented here. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's really what we try to do. And part of that experience is to bring in wonderful clinicians, and certainly that is the case this year. And I think these students would agree with me, and the ones that are assembled up there with their clinician too, that is obviously a big part of their experience. As is getting to hear great ensembles. We had Woodstock 2 nights ago, Woodstock High School Wind Symphony. Last night was our own Reinhardt University Wind Ensemble. Today, we had 2 concerts, an adult band, which I thought was really important for students to see that they're endeavoring in something that is truly, potentially a lifelong experience. And that is to be able to play and share music with other adults. And so the North Georgia Winds came over from the Athens area, Reinhardt actually, and then they went to lunch, and then the Creekview High School, another local wonderful band program, performed a concert. Yeah, oh, great cheers. Raise the roof. And so now you get to hear 2, hopefully you'll stick around if you're waiting on the second one. 2 wonderful honor bands, again, led by our wonderful clinicians. Our first one here today is Dr. Myra Roden. Myra and I go, how far back does it go? Well, no, we don't want to count. Let's say less than 50 years. And I actually invited her, I think 3 years ago, was it? And pandemic wave number 2 came along, and we had to, delay out, we couldn't do it. So I felt so bad. I was like, I gotta get Myra back. Then I invited her to the next year. She couldn't do it. She was already booked. She's booked to go everywhere. You can read her bio, by the way, in the program. It's extensive. She's done everything. She's done it all. She's climbed all the main mountains. But one thing that I'd like to point out about her background is that she runs a wonderful girls' camp, Athena Girls Music and Leadership Institute. And she has ran that for how many years now at Reinhardt? 16 years in the summers here on the Reinhardt campus, but it's actually really hot outside. And they kind of get run of the place, actually. And it's an all girls, all female instructed, all female students. Wonderful experience using music really as the medium for teaching leadership skills, but really life skills. And to do it in an all single gender approach is really just highly effective. And she has really kind of pioneered that whole thing in the music industry. So she's clinician. She's a great musician, wonderful conductor, but most importantly, she really cares about kids. And I say that all day long when I introduce, but you know, all teachers care about kids. They're not doing it because they're making big bucks. They're doing it because they really care about kids. And perhaps of all the teachers that do that the most, and I am biased, are your band directors. So let's give a big round of applause right now for the band directors and music educators. God bless them. So, without any further ado, I'd like for you to join me in giving a warm let's go welcome to our first honor band clinician here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Myra Roden and the Roden Honor Band.
journey today. The first piece was called for Patrick Van Bear, and the second one was Romanian folk dances. So now we're going into the ocean. This piece is called Riptides. It's by a local person. Actually, he's from Carrollton, Georgia. His name is Natasha Copley. He graduated from the University of West Georgia, and he is making his mark as a composer now. And so this piece is about the depths of the ocean. Think about how far you have to go down before it turns pitch black. What did we say, about 700 feet? Is that what it is? But the ocean's like 35,000 feet. So from 700 all the way to 35,000 is pitch black. What are all the things in the ocean that may be lurking under there? You should hear all of those things in this music. And so we have our flute player, Jalen, who is just completely oblivious to everything that's going on in the ocean. And you will hear that she's just going for a swim. And then while that is happening, all of this stuff is happening underneath her. So it's up to you to determine what happens to her at the end of the piece. You should be able to hear that storyline all the way through. So please enjoy Riptides.
So before they conclude their concert, I want to again thank you parents for entrusting your most precious possession to us here and to these wonderful clinicians. And I would be remiss, I've already thanked band directors, but I also need to thank some specific people. He's not here right now because he just left and we're working really hard. But Mr. Dennis Mott, the Assistant Director of Band, is here. Round of applause. Also, he's not here right now either, but he helps make all of this possible and is so cooperative in making sure facilities are scheduled appropriately. This is a heavily used room and we have dominated it for a few days. And that is my dean, Dr. Fred Tarrant. So thank you, Dr. Tarrant. And finally, I want to thank these wonderful students because, you know, let's face it, you walk into a school, you want to meet the best kids in the school. Where do you head? The band room. We all know that. There's great kids in all rooms. But you want to for sure meet the best kids, the ones that are the glue, the ones that aren't in the news for the wrong reasons. Go meet your band kids, right? And I know I'm talking to band parents, so this is an easy sell. But it's very true, and it's borne out by experiences like this where I just, you know, the biggest problem is my pad fell out, I'm missing page 4, you know, not I ran off and we caught these two, you know, all that. None of that. Because these kids, and you know what, parents, that's your fault. The apples don't fall far from the tree. So we really appreciate that. So last bit of appreciation is, of course, to our wonderful clinician. Kids, give Dr. Roden your farewell. Yay, yay, yay. Stay in touch. You got socials, don't you? Are you on You've already exchanged all that, okay. All right, so the reading of the plaque. Reinhardt University High School Honor Band Clinic. This is presented to Dr. Myra Roden in recognition of your talent and musicianship as a guest conductor and clinician at the Reinhardt High School Honor Band Clinic, January 18th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Myra Roden, thank you so much.
To Reinhardt University. I'm usually here only in the summer. Yeah, 2 times. And for the Athena camp, and it was interesting coming here, not in the summer. Yeah. So it was great. These students have been absolutely amazing. I told them at 4 o'clock today we've known each other for 48 hours, right? And we got to put a concert together. So if you don't think that's pretty amazing, I do. I think they are to be commended. They don't know each other. They're all from different schools, and to be able to come together in a few hours and put a concert on, that is absolutely amazing. Also, parents, please continue to support your band directors, to support music education in your schools, because there are a lot of band kids doing a lot of things this weekend. Between parades and honor bands and rehearsals, and you know, several people probably submitted recordings for all-state auditions this weekend. It was due like yesterday or something. A lot of band kids are doing a lot of great things. So please, please, please continue to support not only your students, but the band directors and their visions for their programs at your schools. And then fight for them. Fight for them with the school board to make sure you keep great programs in your schools. Once again, thank you so much for having me. We're going to play one last piece. We told you we're taking you on a trip. This time we're going to New Orleans. Hopefully you can feel that New Orleans groove, right? And it's a piece called The Country Club Stomp by Gerard Hall. Hopefully you will enjoy it. Thank you.
Okay, that was quick. I think I said 10 minutes. There's no way that was 10 minutes. 5 minutes. We get it done. So who you see in front of you now on the stage is our second of 2 honor bands. This is one conducted by Mr. Tracy Wright. You'll see Tracy's bio in the program. It's extensive, and it is very largely based in a beautiful town up near Chattanooga, Ringgold, Georgia. He's a Ringgold native and was instrumental, pardon the pun, in building that band program that is just the colossal thing that it is. If you've never heard or seen the Ringgold band, you're missing it. And a big reason that it is as good as it is because of this gentleman right here, Mr. Tracy Wright. We've known each other, again, about as long as I've known Mara. Less than 50 years, we'll just put it that way. Not much, but less. So, he's just an amazing musician. I know the kids have had a good time. He is quick to tell a story, ain't he? And the boy knows his history. He's quite the historian, right? Yeah. So anyway, it's been just a wonderful experience for these kids, and you're going to hear that experience come through in how they play this great program that he has prepared, which, by the way, is a history-related program, but I'm going to let him explain that to you. So please, everybody, give a warm Waleska welcome to our second honor band clinician of the afternoon, Mr. Tracy Wright and the Wright Honor Band.
fanfare Esprit. It's a newer piece written by a lady from Texas. Her name is Carol Chambers, and she's one of the up-and-coming composers and band music. Well, she's been writing for a long time, actually. Her music is wonderful, and her sister, Ruth Britton, is also a terrific composer for band music as well. Let's give the students another big round of applause. April 18th, 1775, 250 years ago this year, one lantern meant by land, two lanterns meant by sea at the Old North Church there in Boston, and there was one lantern, Paul Revere, and a few others actually, went riding into the countryside saying, to arms, the British are coming. His ride lasted about 20 minutes actually, but he called the Minutemen, the militia together, and the next day on April the 19th, the first two battles of the American Revolution were fought. And this year is the 250th anniversary of those two battles at the beginning of the Revolutionary War. So next year, if you are thinking 1776 will be the United States' 250th birthday, will be next year. I remember the bicentennial in 1976, barely. And I remember the fireworks and the barbecue. I do remember that part. But we've got a big birthday coming up in 2026. This year, those two famous battles, the Minutemen met the most powerful army in the world on Lexington Green and fought them there. And then later in the day, they met the British Army at Concord Bridge, just right down the road, Lexington and Concord. Now we're going to do those pieces in reverse. We're first going to play Concord, and then we're going to finish this little chunk with the Lexington March. So Concord, there's three Revolutionary War tunes. The first one is an old fife and drum tune called The White Cockade. The second tune was written by William Billings, who was probably our first American composer. And his most famous melody was called Chester, but this is a melody that he simply titled America. And then we'll close it out with a different version of Yankee Doodle, which was actually a British tune they sang to make fun of the Patriots, and then the Patriots kind of adopted it as their own. And so that's Concord by Claire Drummond. Then we will play the Lexington March, written by our second best American march composer, Carl King, second only, of course, to Mr. John Philip Sousa. Here's Concord by Claire Drummond and Lexington March by Carl King. I'm doing more of these honor bands this coming winter and spring, and I'm doing both of those pieces. And I've told the students, they set the gold standard for me because they started on Concord. You heard the difficulty in that. They started on that Thursday. And I went back to the hotel and prayed. And wow, but that really came alive on Friday morning, and they worked very hard on those two pieces, and hopefully learned or reminded of our great history that we have here in the USA. Lowell Mason was a hymn writer. He was actually a banker who liked to do music on the side. And he liked to compose a little bit. And Lowell Mason became the organist and choir master in Savannah, Georgia, at the Independent Presbyterian Church, which if you're a fellow Presbyterian, you know that's an oxymoron, Independent Presbyterian. But he was the choir master of that beautiful church that's still standing down here in Savannah, off the whole street. While he was there, he wrote in a lot of our great hymn tunes. So when you look at a hymn in the hymnal, they have two names a lot of times listed. They'll have the hymn writer, the person that wrote the words, and that might be Charles Wesley, since we're at Methodist school. Okay, Charles Wesley, Isaac Watts, Fanny Crosby, John Newton, and so many others. And that's one. But then also there'll be another name, and those are usually the people that wrote the music for the hymns. And Lowell Mason is one of those. Nearer My God to Thee. You'll see his name sometimes accredited to certain hymn arrangements of Joy to the World, of When I Survey the Wondrous Cross, and many other of our hymns. You'll see the name Lowell Mason. Oh, Far a Thousand Tongues to Sing. Many of those great hymns. This particular hymn you're going to hear, and this is one of Lowell Mason's melodies, My Faith Looks Up to Thee. And this beautiful setting was written by Mr. David Holsinger, who just recently retired as the director of bands at Lee University up in Cleveland, Tennessee, just right up the road from me. And his name is all over the band repertoire. He wrote 4 pieces of music based on hymn settings, and this is one of those 4 on a hymn song of Lowell Mason. I hope you enjoy this beautiful setting. When we get to the ending of the piece, Holsinger had in mind the last stanza of that hymn, and when life's transient dream, and basically the homegoing of someone there right at the very end, and the music kind of depicts that at the end. So here's on the hymn song of Lowell Mason by David Holsinger.
for my final recognition of this 3-day clinic and of Mr. Wright, I neglected to thank a very important component of putting on an event like this. And I don't know that they're in here because they're probably doing what I'm getting ready to describe to you, what they have been doing for 3 days. We have a chapter here called CNAFME, is the acronym, College National Association for Music Education. And it is the college version of the overall National Association for Music Education. We have a chapter here at Reinhardt that is extremely active. They're all music ed majors, both on the vocal track and the instrumental track. And those students are the future music educators. And myself and Mr. Naughton and all the support that we rely upon consider it our mission. We are trying to build here at Reinhardt a band director and choral director and elementary general music and orchestra teacher factory. And we want them to learn the way that I learned, and the way that Mr. Wright learned, and the way that Dr. Roden learned, and that is through mentorship. Because what we do is so dependent upon having those role models that hand this knowledge that you don't find in any textbook, that you don't learn sitting in a college classroom. And these students are the ones that we're attempting to transmit that information to. Part of that experience is helping to put on a clinic like this. These kids come into voluminous Xeroxing and music library work that has to be done starting weeks in advance. Logistics of chairs and stands and percussion equipment and serving meals and setting up this room and tearing down that room. Yesterday, the students all got an hour master class with each of the respective professors on the instruments here at Reinhardt. And those rooms had to be set up and then torn back down again around the demands of the usual classroom. So that's not a job just for me by myself. It truly takes a village to put on one of these. And so I would like to thank, and I don't know that they're here in the room because again, they're probably they're striking and resetting the band room that this group was just in for us to rehearse and come visit if it doesn't snow. So please help me in are they here or is there any CNAP students? They're all working, like I say, so, but let's give them a big round of applause. And they're great kids. They're not kids, they're young adults. But they're just wonderful people. My feet hit the floor every morning, and I'm like, I get to go work with students like this. I did it at the high school level for 32 years. Doing it at the college level is where they're just on the cusp of being a music educator is just an amazing experience. Speaking of amazing experiences, these students have had one, and parents, again, I want to give you a big recognition and round of applause because these students are awesome because you're awesome parents. So parents, thank you. Big round of applause for those. Showing these kids to band practice, private lessons, selling fruit and donuts, and standing in the concession stand when you could be sitting in the stands watching a football game. I get it. Thank y'all so much. Chaperoning on the band bus. God bless you if you go down. And finally, of course, our wonderful student musicians here in the Wright Band. Let's give them a big round of applause. They rock. They're all rock stars. Okay. Have a seat. And finally, the man who marshaled these horses, and he already said, listen, this is from sight reading. They hadn't seen this music from until Thursday afternoon and after a school day, right? And listen to the finished product. That is a marvelous thing. Obviously a tribute to the musicians, but also to both Dr. Roden and Mr. Wright waving the stick. So, here we go. Mr. Tracy Wright, come over here so I can present you with this plaque that reads, Reinhardt University High School Honor Band Clinic. This is presented to Mr. Tracy Wright in recognition of your talent and musicianship as a guest conductor and clinician at the Reinhardt High School Honor Band Clinic, January 18th, 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tracy Wright.
I didn't know they were serving meals. No one told me that. So, okay, I missed it. All right. So I have the privilege to work at a wonderful conference out in Seattle every year called the Western International Band Clinic, and we have high school students that come in. This year we had students from 19 states. We had 15 Australian students that came over, and some students from British Columbia came down as well. And it's an incredible event, 4 big, humongous honor bands. And the students, in a little different format, they get to work under 6 conductors while they're there, plus guest artists. We've had the Canadian Brass, we've had the Boston Brass. We have had some of the finest in the business have come out and been some of our guest artists, plus performing groups throughout the weekend. So it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Western International Band Clinic to present a scholarship to a student that I had in my group to attend the clinic next school year. Not this year, but it is the weekend right before Thanksgiving in Seattle, right across the street from the airport. Actually, it's a highway. And it covers their registration, and it's a total gift of $325. And they gotta fly. I'd recommend flying to Seattle. But and so I'd like to present that scholarship on behalf of WIBC to Mr. Levi Morris of Creekview High School. Some more of his friends can come out and attend the clinic with him. All right, we're going to close out on this one is kind of smoking hot. Okay? Who likes country music? All right, yes. Okay. Who likes blues? All right. Who likes big band jazz? Oh wow. Who likes Latin music? Okay. Who likes gospel music? All right, 4. Okay. Well, you're about to hear a little bit of all of it right here in this next piece. We're going to take you. Dr. Roden said that she's taking you on a journey. We're going to go on a journey. You're going to on a train. It's called Rail Lifts. I heard it in Seattle this past November, and I went, I want to do that. And we jumped into it, and it is a hootenanny of a time. And you're going to love it, and you're going to hear all kinds of stuff. We're going to go through the hills of East Tennessee and Kentucky. And you're going to hear the sounds of the Old West, a little bit of that. We're going through Memphis and Chicago and St. Louis to hear some blues. We're going to get down to New Orleans. And we are going to run back through Nashville. We're going to go through Miami. And we're going to hit it all. Grand Ole Opry. Just get ready, but it's all going to be from a train. We got the windows down. We're going to hear lots of different types of music. Here's Railroad.